introduce the players real fast here. Of course, in the bottom left, we do have SlayerS.CoCa coming out as the blue Zerg, and he is a specialist within this matchup, of course. And on the other hand, we do have the top right Protoss, the red Protoss player here, Liquid.HerO, looking to join Ret as another Team Liquid player, qualified so far for the TSL, TSL number 4, of course. Daybreak, map number 1, did go over to HerO, playing on a more difficult map coming to Daybreak, a map where Protoss players initially liked it, and then slowly withdrew that statement, and now actually despise it because it is actually really difficult to establish that third base.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just described it quite well, Apollo. That's pretty much it. Was once a favorite and then no more, partially due to, or in fact to, Stefano and some of his strategies that he brought to the Zerg race. So, it's not stopping. I don't think it just defeats every single Protoss, and Protosses are finding ways to battle back. I mean, it also depends on what stage of the game it actually gets to. Gets to that later game, Zerg sets up in the middle, has that nice spine crawler wall, has their brood lords. Then it's going to come down to how well is your mothership, your Archon control. Are you going to be able to handle that and the number of brood lords? But there's still the middle portion of the game where Protoss can get aggressive. They can get aggressive on that third. Same thing for the Zerg. So I always love watching this particular matchup on this map because as much as Zergs, say, yes, I love this versus Protoss because I can win a majority of the time, seeing the Protoss players claw back and fight back and find ways to make, make this not so advantageous for the Zerg is always an entertaining thing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how it evolved here, because there was a certain point where Protoss players loved +1, Void Ray, Zealot attacks and so on. Then they kind of fell behind, and then they're like, alright, great, we'll just take a third base instead. And that worked really well for a long time. And then players, like Stefano, started crushing that by running roaches to the main, then the third, then the main, then the third. And then you had an advanced play like that from players like Symbol, who got ventral sacks and then dropped in your third if your force fields were spectacular.
Right.
It's just been advanced and advanced over time. And it's actually reversed the style of play from Protoss to go back to 2-base pushes again, because they're having so much difficulty against Ro8 drops in their main while defending a third. They're having difficulty versus Ling Muta play because it's the same thing basically. Muta's in your main, Ling's on your third, and so on. And that has resorted a lot of play to go back to 2-base pushes. But then again, if a Zerg player is really good on their scouting and is good on defending and building their structures and units out on time, where does that leave Protoss? And that basically has brought you up to date on the Protoss vs Zerg matchup on Daybreak for the last 12 months.
I'd say that was a pretty good summary. Someone can put bullet points to that and you're good to go. Probe did stop at the third, is going to check again. There is a Ling out there now. Second Ling joining him is the drone. Yep, they're the drone going out right now, throwing that down and getting that planted. So the Lings being out on the map, obviously crucial to try to find that probe. Going to be up to HerO to sort of, escape and evade that Zergling as long as he possibly can. Now the side core going down. And we are going to have one gas inside the main with a second gas taken at the natural. Something else we've been seeing out of Protoss is a lot more.
This is a little bit weird though, because with not taking the second gas, that actually leaves a lot of minerals banked up, which he can throw into a lot of gateways, for example. And I think that's what that north pylon, the right pylon, northeast pylon, should I say? Oh my god, mixing up the words there. It's going to be for punch butter gateways down. The third gas on the natural is a fake out. I said it to myself then, it faked me out. It's a third gas, quotations. No, it's not. It's a second gas. And CoCa will read that as a third gas and will most likely believe this to be Stargate +1, some form of tech. But in reality, there's so many minerals banked up, it's either two things, an expansion or gateways, and it's not going to be an expansion for the reasons we talked about, so it's most likely going to be like a 6-gate +1 attack coming out by HerO, especially because he has a probe still out on the map.
Yeah, and that probe has not been found. It did skirt death just a few times, but that Ling has not been able to track him down. Now, there's an Overlord in position, so he'll have to navigate past that, because, of course, once that pylon is going down, that will be crucial for this attack. So here we go. Start counting gateways like it's Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3, 4. And number 5 going down. So up there in the corner, Overlord is coming into position, and there is a Stalker there, but I do think he can catch at least a couple of these. Actually, his trajectory kind of sucks, Apollo. He's moving over. There's one. He's going to see 2. He's probably only going to see 3. He's got to move hard in position. Ah, there it is, the magic reveal as all the gateways are revealed in an instant. And meanwhile, he'll check and look. He actually cancels another gas because I guess he's trying to cover up what was actually going on, and it has been found. So now the Zergling's moving out. They know there's got to be a pylon. This is kind of crumbling around HerO right now, but it doesn't necessarily mean the end of the game.
Oh man, that sucks. The pylon will die. He will not be able to warp in time. A robo's thrown down as kind of an escape path here. Another pylon going down as well for HerO. One Zealot with +1 will be able to do a bit of damage, especially now with Stalkers there. So the pylon this time will survive. The gateways are ready, but so is CoCa, who stopped drones at 60 and is now building nothing but Ro8 and Ling in anticipation for this attack. The creep spread is pretty decent too, and HerO is actually falling back on into an expansion, which a Zergling has seen already. So HerO is just getting ripped apart here, and the supply tells a massive story.
Oh yes, it does. And now this Stalker's going to get hit up front. It does go down. Zealot's going to go down as well. Zergling's already on this third. HerO warping in units to try to keep it alive, and those Zealots should be able to force these Zerglings to go ahead and hightail it out of here. Few still Roaches out on. So this early aggression shut down quite nicely. There's even some pylons out around the map that the Zerg players should be able to snag up here from HerO. CoCa going to do exactly that as he does grab that probe and then going after that pylon as well. So now the HerO kind of, although I really wanted to see that aggression come out by him and see how he played that out, now has to fall back on defending that third. Having the gateways there obviously going to be advantageous in some respect, but this army is moving out, and we do have the Zerg player going back to droning, but going to try to do some damage with the units that he made.
Yeah, there's so many sentries out though, so that third base is easily defended, but the natural is not. But that's why there's an observer on the ramp between the Zernog Tower and the natural to actually see where the units are moving and where they're coming from. So HerO has pretty good intelligence so far, and now with the Immortal starting to come into play, he just has to prolong with the sentries. If he can see an opening like that, great, he'll take a couple of Roaches, but he will ideally want to prolong as much as possible here. As soon as the Immortals come in, that makes things a lot easier.
CoCa also crabbing a fourth in the far northwest corner. He's now reverting his, or rotating his attack over here to the natural, working on these rocks. Now that that Immortal is out, though, those Roaches become much less dangerous, especially with some good force fields here. And 1 goes down, 2 goes down. Going to try to get as many as he can with his Immortal, but only 1 Roach falls. Not really throwing out too many. Actually creating a little maze there, a little Protoss game. Keeping morale up, you know, guys get through these force fields. That was fun. We're all comrades now. But the Zerglings coming out and a quick 5th going down as well. And this is that established area, you know, once this gets up with the Infestors coming. Is Hive on its way yet? Doesn't look like quite yet, but we're going to see Pathogen Glands coming out. He's got both gases, of course, at the 3rd as well, and he's going to take both the gases at the 4th very, very quickly. This small force, you know, even against this amount of Lings, I think this is pretty scary. I think HerO's got to move back, and that's exactly what he's doing right now, especially as his observer kind of catches wind of what is going on. But that's a scary thought, Apollo, to think your opponent's taking a base here at the main already, and also could be taking something behind that. He does not yet even know about that base in the northwest.
Yeah, that's something that HerO has messed up on with the Observer. I don't think the Observer should have followed the army home. I think he should have actually scattered the bases, because this can be 4 base into, Infestors into a little attack, or it could be 5 base complete greed. And HerO doesn't really know about that, and that could be his downfall in this game. But right now, the Observer is following that army. HerO is getting set up in defensive posture, but in reality, there could be so many drones made, so much gas taken, which is happening here, which will power the late game of CoCa's so well, and the Observer falls in the middle of the map now, so there is no information out there for HerO to gather, who will naturally sit back and defend until he slowly gets to 160-70 supply and move out. But HerO has to be very cautious. A lot of force fields left, though.
Oh, wow. A ton of infested Terrans go out, and he might be able to just snipe the third, and he will target those with all those units. We got now a bunch of Zealots coming out. They do clean up inside all of those Zerglings, and I do not think he's going to be able to snipe that Nexus. That may not have been the wisest move, to just go ahead and attack with the infested Terrans, but at first it did look like he was going to have a good enough establishment inside that third that he would do some serious damage, but that was just a remarkable hold by HerO.
And this is very difficult for HerO to move out past the halfway line, because if he does and gets fungled and surrounded, in his eyes, remember, not the caster eyes, then it's easily GG. He loses everything. So he'll take this tower very slowly but surely, check the units around, and may actually sit and take a fourth base rather than attack. He needs to get some form of scout across, whether it be a Zealot walking around, an Observer chrono boosted out, something, because right now he's most likely playing, or is playing, completely blind here to what his opponent is actually doing.
I mean, he totally is. And there's an attack on the fourth. It is thwarted here. Blink forward, try to get as many of these units as he possibly can. Hive is done. Greater Spire has begun. So look for that. And of course, the Broodlord tech here coming out shortly. There are a ton of infestors just gaining so much energy right now. But the ground force, I have to admit, is quite low here for the Zerg player. But so many infested Therans could be thrown out here. So many fungals could be tossed out. Now the Roach is moving forward. I'm still, well, a lot of infested Terrans come out here, but it's pretty much just infestors versus this army.
Yeah, and the reinforcements will have to come to actually defend this. Infestors can hold off, but reinforcements will crush this if HerO overstays. HerO's trying to take a fourth base and reinforce with units of his own, but he has to be so careful not to lose this army, because if he loses this army, he has absolutely zero options to break down before the Broodlords get out, and he's going to try and go again. But look, the Corruptors are here, the Colossus will fall, Roaches and Link streaming in as well. Is HerO going to be able to do this? Because if he doesn't, he's going to be in such a terrible position in this game.
That Greater Spire just completing up right now, blinking back, keeping those Stalkers alive, and now we're seeing that Infestor count lower very, very drastically. There's only about 3 remaining out on the field. The last of the Spine Crawlers starting to fall here, and he's just killing reinforcements as they come out, and HerO may have chosen that perfect window to attack. There is not going to be any Broods come out because he needs the units to be able to defend against there, and he has nothing to defend the Broodlords itself. Had this attack come 2 minutes later, this could have been a completely different battle, but Apollo, it appears like at least this base is going to fall.
Yeah, this base will fall, but there's still 4 bases for SlayerS.CoCa, so he's not out of it yet. He's making a lot of infestors and roaches. Slowly but surely, HerO's taking the 4th base, taking the gases, aiming for the mothership ASAP here, getting +3 attack, which is 30 seconds away, and when that completes, this becomes really difficult. At the same time, SlayerS.CoCa sends out a handful of links to try to slow down the economy at the back, but HerO is about to break down the 3rd base as well. Is he seriously going to hit this timing right at the sweet spot before anything can happen for SlayerS.CoCa?
I think so. I mean, he's got the Corruptors out, but frankly, he just does not have the economy right now for the Broodlords, and that's what he desperately needs as more Stalkers come into play here too. That gets really, really scary. There are 4 infestors out here, but he's established that 4th base, and you know what? Wise decision. He's going to check on this 4th up here in the corner, and when he sees this, there's going to have to be a forced attack here by SlayerS.CoCa. And it's not going to be good. He's still not equipped with Broodlords right now.
No, he's not, and he picks off that base as well. Even though a great fungal lands and he gets a lot of units trapped and killed here, it doesn't matter if HerO loses every single unit here, because he's rebuilding with a mothership, soon to be in the production tab as well, and HerO even escapes with half this Stalker count.
Oh yeah, and he's going to meet up with the Colossus, although the Corruptors are there now. But he's got to be careful. There's just not a whole lot of ground units. He can afford to lose that one Colossus, and he blinks forward to take out the Corruptors. Nicely done. Colossus stays alive. HerO with, again, another demonstration of some great control, Apollo. And we have one Roach shooting forward to try to take out that Colossus. Not going to happen. And HerO, I mean, he now can just push, I think, for ultimate victory. The mothership has begun. More Stalkers and Zealots reinforcing. And with that sort of economy, what does SlayerS.CoCa do?
Yeah, that's such a narrow timing there. A great fungal on the ramp, getting the maximum surface area there, but with a Colossus there, everything will die. Queen trying to get the kill on the Colossus will not work, and a sweet, incredible timing hit by Hero. As soon as he saw the spine close down on that middle base, he knew what was going on and just managed to push his way through and manages to pick up, from what it looks like here, another victory, going 2-0, and will move on to the other semi-final.
Yep, and that